Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to be adding on to the postures that you learned in your previous class. And today we're going to add 3 other postures. So we'll be focusing on a forward fold, a half lift, and chaturanga. So we'll begin today in child's pose. So moving anything out of the way that you've got in the way. And feel free to grab a blanket here if child's pose feels a little tight in the hips. You can lay this towel, a towel or a blanket, right onto the calves of the legs and just sink back. And that will be maybe a little easier on the knees and the hips as well. So whatever feels better for you, you're gonna take child's pose. So for me today, I'm gonna move this blanket back out of the way. And I'm gonna take my knees a little bit wide because for me, my body likes that, but you might like that inner leg line more pulled together, and that's okay. So big toes can touch here, and just allow the forehead to drop down towards the ground, and we'll take some breaths together. So take a nice deep inhale through the nose, and then let it go. Full expansive breath. And then a full release of that breath. And as you're here breathing for the next few minutes, realizing that there is this steady, stable earth underneath you that's holding you and supporting you. Feel free to shut down the eyes for a minute if you haven't already. And just connecting to the breath. Feeling the air moving in and out. Take one more breath here. And on your next breath in, just rising back up into the table that you were doing in your last class here. Moving the knees underneath the hips if need be, and going into cat-cow so the belly drops, the low back arches, look forward, take a breath. And then as you exhale, round through the upper back. Curve the spine, gaze at the navel. Inhale, arch, look up. Exhale and round. One more time, inhale and arch. Exhale and round. Return to your table position. Your back is neutral here. Curl the toes under so that they're touching the mat. And begin to press away through the hands. Lift the hips and you'll find yourself in downward facing dog. Now, feel free to pedal out the feet. You can walk the feet in a little closer to the hands, or you can take a longer dog, whatever you feel like. Whatever feels good for you, right? Because it's about what feels good. And knowing that in down dog, you do not have to have the heels touching the ground. The heels can be lifted and the knees can be bent. The most important thing is that you're pointing your tail toward the sky. So take a full breath here. And then on your exhale, as you empty your breath, walk your feet forward towards your hands. Now, you're in a bit of a forward fold here. If you have blocks, sorry for not mentioning this earlier, but if you've got blocks handy, pop them right in front of you. And we're going to be moving into a half lift. So while you're in a forward fold, your hands can be on your ankles, they can be on your shins, They can be up on your thighs. It doesn't matter where you are. But when you're in a forward fold, you're going to be trying to lay the torso on top of your thighs. Now, for each person, that's different. So try not to judge where you are and just notice, feel the lengthening in the back of the legs. And if it feels like too much sensation, back off, right? Rise up a little bit. So, taking the hands to the blocks in front of you, or walking your hands up higher on your leg, whatever you've got, I want you to take a breath in, and as you breathe in, lift your torso so that you're in a neutral position like you are in table, except now we're on our feet rather than our knees. And it's perfectly fine here to shift a little bit of weight into the hands if they're on blocks, or pushing into your shins. Totally cool. The point of half lift is that your back is flat and you create length through the spine here. And you hear this a lot. A lot of yoga teachers will say, lengthen. But if you don't know how to lengthen, you're not going to get there. So if you imagine lengthening through the spine, you're going to pull your head forward toward whatever is in front of you. So let's say the top of the mat. You're going to pull your head forward, and then you're going to allow the tail to reach behind you. And what happens, it's almost like when you're sitting up tall and you feel like you've got this string out of the top of your head. You can pull in both directions and create some length there. So hold here for just one more minute. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. Cool. Now take one more breath in here. As you exhale, I'm going to have you plant the hands on the ground. So move these blocks out of the way, and we're going to step back to that plank position. So hands are underneath the shoulders here. Now we're going to do chaturanga. So shift your weight forward of your hands, bend your elbows and keep them close into your ribs as you slowly lower down. Let go of your breath. And then move from here to child's pose. So push back through the hands, and then the hips go towards the heels. Cool, take a full breath here. Inhale and rise to table. Curl the toes under you, push away from the ground, exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale. Empty the breath and walk toward the front of the mat. Remember, forward fold here. So allowing the breath to leave the body, and the torso begins to lay on top of your thighs. Feel free to bend the knees here. If it feels like too much in the hamstrings, that's okay. You're going to raise your hands back up onto those blocks or go higher on your leg. Inhale to that half lift. Your back is flat, your head is reaching forward, your tail is reaching behind. Take one more breath. As you exhale, plant the hands, step back with the opposite leg first here, moving to your plank. Let the breath go. Inhale. As you exhale, shift the weight forward, come up onto your toes, elbows stand close to the sides, lower down. Awesome. Make your way to your child's pose. Take a breath. Rise on the inhale. Curl the toes, downward facing dog on the exhale. Breath in. Walk it forward. Breath out. Forward fold. Inhale to your half lift. Crown of the head reaches forward. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to plank. Hold here. Take a breath. On your exhale, shift it forward. Elbows stay in, lower down. Take a breath. On the exhale, hips to heels, child's pose. One more. Full breath in. Empty it out. Rise to table. Exhale, downward facing dog. Full breath in. Empty and walk it forward. Forward fold. Pull the torso towards the thighs here. Inhale for your half lift. Lengthen through the spine. Exhale, plant the hands, step it back. Feel the warmth you're creating. Take a breath here. As you exhale, shift it forward, slowly lower, elbows tighten. Awesome. Take a minute, roll onto your back. Moving into your Shavasana. If you would like your blanket, feel free to grab it. If you don't feel the need, then don't. Extend the knees, legs are straight, toes are pointed away from each other. They're just splayed out in a neutral position. You don't need to pull them that way. Just allow all the muscles of the legs to fully relax. Palms are faced up or down, shutting down the eyes. And for the next moment, just feeling the sensations of your body. Feel your heart beating in your chest. Feel the breath. Notice, is it quickened? If it is, can you slow it down? On the next breath in, breathing fully, deeply, smoothly. Begin to awaken the fingers and the toes. Make your movements a little bit bigger, maybe rolling the thighs in towards each other and then pointing the toes away. And lastly, reaching the arms up above your head and reaching through your fingertips, through your toes. Feel the stretching sensation of your abdomen. Take a full breath here. Let it go. Gently rolling onto your right side. Making your way to your seated position. With eyes still closed, hands gather at heart center in prayer position. Take a moment to bow inward, to acknowledge your effort, to acknowledge your willingness to try something new. And also to acknowledge that you just proved to yourself you can do it. Thank you for joining me in this practice. Namaste. Blinking the eyes open if you haven't already. Coming back. I hope today was exactly what you needed. And until next time.